looking down the line.
Yeah, look at straight down the line.
Yeah.
Good,
Looking north.
yeah, good shot here of your
South.
your skip hoist house over here. It's partially over the high line. Notice this is a two-track high line in here, which is quite typical of many of the older systems. Modern furnaces started being built in the 20s and 30s would go to three tracks on the high line to get better traffic flow, if they could do it. And so basically, this is that same furnace with the hotspot in it.
Did any of them have a single track on it?
Not that I know of.
This is the north end.
All right, run on to the next one.
This is the Republic Steel's furnace. I don't know what the identity of it is.
Number
This is
five.
Number 5, is it? This is the one you can see from that Center Street Bridge. And wonderful sight to watch. Dean got pictures before I...
This is the furnace that the chap from Cleveland built from one picture. It's in the book of the Walls.
The end scale?
No, it's those for HO. He had one picture. He did a marvelous job. His only problem was he couldn't see the dust catcher, the dust collector, so he thought it was on the ground like a silo. So when I took the pictures, I just hid it.
Okay.
It's a beautiful, beautiful model for building from just a picture.
Okay, again, real steep skip hoist coming up here, so your dumping area is up in here. But take a look how you've got slanted uptakes going up to a center collection point here, and then there'll be two downcombers coming down. The dust catcher's right back and buried back in here behind the furnace. You can't see it. These in here, you see all these little openings? Those are cooling plates inserted. This is a thin wall furnace, which would be relatively thin, maybe a foot thick, 18 inches thick instead of a 2 foot or more thick of fire brick. And they put in cooling plates down here to keep control of the heat loss, and those would continue on down into the Ocean Heart. These platforms right in here would be for servicing water pipes and also barometer platforms that take the temperatures of the stack. They instrumented these furnace stacks as early as they could, because they started realizing that they kept getting hot spots and they could detect them early. They'd be able to alter the furnace so they could control it. So basically, this is an early type. In other words, you didn't see much of these tilted updates. I'm not quite sure who came up with that design, but they weren't around for long. This projection right here is the crane leg that goes in back to about here. Actually, it extends out to here in this particular one, which is your big bell and small bell crane to service the inside of the furnace. Next.
This is the overall view of how equipment works from the river, LTV, J&L.
Okay, this particular one here, when Al equipment was originally built, it was mostly this style right here. They had a line of them going down. I believe 5 furnaces at this plant. And when we write up the notes, I've got references to this in the Association of Iron and Steel Engineers journals of the earlier furnaces before the rebuilds and the new furnaces were put in.
But it's whip-up, not Allen. Just whip-up.
Well, okay.
They don't pronounce the first one?
No, whip-up.
They don't.
Everybody else does.
Okay. This furnace in here is a complete replacement furnace. It is considerably higher than this furnace here. This one down here was a rebuild furnace, the original stack. So the one in the middle that you see right here is a total rebuild, a totally new furnace at some point. I don't have a date on it. But that is probably in the 40s to 50s. Again, I'm not sure because this is very similar in proportions and style to the Edgar Thompson furnaces, which I've got the drawings on, as far as the shapes and proportions. This furnace down here is of the same style, but a much smaller one. And probably it was a rebuild on top of the old original stack, so that several different variations on the theme in here.
Any idea on the height on the smaller one to the far left?
The height to the bell, the main bell deck right here the main platform, is approximately 100 foot from grade in both of these older furnaces, because that was pretty much standardized early, although there were a few variations on it. It was standardized around the turn of the century as far as the heights. This one right over here, the reason it's higher here, it's the same height stack, maybe 110 foot at most, is they raised the cast house level to prevent erosion, because they had an awful lot of dust coming out of these old furnaces, especially using wasabi ore. It was very dusty ore. And one of the things, I've seen this in a number of furnaces, these were lined up here so that they would prevent the destruction of the actual downcombers. And so you'll see this floating around various and sundry older furnaces in the whole Pittsburgh district area. And so up in here, here's again your craneway going through to service the big bell. The bell's in here. And this one is dense up here. Notice the multiple levels of platforming through here and stairways and all sorts of little... And this point, this isn't even decked. Take a look at these platforms. There's no deck up there. They were originally servicing. They probably had clean-out holes in here in one configuration. They had to go out and clean out things and so on and so forth. Again, here's your crane up here to service the explosion doors. But this is a pillar crane with a cantilever beam coming off the top of that thing. Rotating pillar crane. Notice how they connected the tops of the various and sundry uptakes with truss work to keep things stiff up there. Also, take a look at this real heavy power wiring coming through. Notice very heavy cables all over the place in that way. Keep on going. Same one from a slightly different direction. You can see how steep this skip hoist was. These are stacks coming off of probably your stove systems in the back on the other side of the furnace. These here look like counterweights for bell arms in here somehow or other. I'm not sure exactly what those things are. They're a bit of a mystery to me. Someday I'll have to study the photographs with some magnifying glass to see if I can figure those out. They look a little weird. So I'll say this about the engineering of blast furnaces. Every blast furnace plant engineer had different ideas of how to make the mechanical equipment work. At the time they were wrong. So you'll see all sorts of variations on it. Okay, let's see the next one. And this is
number 3. Yeah. I believe this was the south furnace of the American Steel and Wire U.S. Steel Central Furnace Works, demolished in 1984.
All right, this one here, again, 4 uptakes continuously through to a nice platform system up here, and in this case, 4 arms coming down to 2 downcombers down here going to a dust catcher right here. This one seems to look like the 2 downcombers would come in on opposite sides of the dust catcher to create a lot of turbulence in that dust catcher to see if they could drop out the dust. Didn't work very well. They ended up finally having to change these things. Created too much turbulence that kept sending dust down through. And take a look at your cast house roof, designed so that you had a lot of ventilation in there to get the fumes out. And again, your stair tower going here, notice how the stair tower is partially enclosed all the way up. Nice big open work up here. This is the bridge. Looks like the bridge going over to the stoves back in that area. This looks like an elevator shaft back here for servicing the tops of the furnaces and the stoves. And this extension right here is on the top of the dust catcher, and on the opposite side there will be a piping coming off to take the gases to the rest of the dust cleaning equipment, or the gas cleaning equipment. All right, we can get on to the next one.
This is the same furnace, the other side.
Same furnace. Here you can see the piping coming off the top of the dust catcher going off to the gas cleaning equipment. Here you can see a better shot of your stair towers right up here. And these little arms up here at the top are the operating arms for blow-off valves or explosion valves, as the case may be. These were oftentimes opened at various periods in the furnace cycle as they're starting after a tap. And you'll see these arms periodically in different positions. these were controlled by a cable system all the way down in the cast house. And some of the cabling got pretty wild in some cases, pulleys all over the place. In addition to the big bell arms and the small bell arms, which are located back in here, which you can't see in this particular one. And again, you can see some of the older standard 50-ton ladles down here. These are the type that have trunnions on them. These would be lifted to be poured either directly into open hearts or into a mixer at some other position.
Well, they were pick machine cars because they serviced the American Steel and Wire facilities in Cleveland.
Okay, I'm not quite, I don't have that much information on this particular plant, so.
Well, he's correct.
Yeah, but they are definitely standard open top ladles down there.
Where's the crane up the?
It may go that way. This looks like it might be the end of the craneway right in here going, no, not really. It's not quite sure just where it's located up in this one. There will be a crane in there somewhere.
How's that, going 90 degrees?
No, that's the end of the.
Look at the dead center.
Dead center.
Dead center going for the back. There it is.
They're
No,
different.
Up higher, all that
Higher.
top. Keep going up, Mike.
Keep going up.
Up, no, right there.
That?
No,
Coming at you.
Page 28 and page 30
You're
lead
going
about
out
the
back.
same furnace.
That might be it up there. It might be, yes.
Right here.
Right, yes, that might be. Might be.
Oh, Mike, excuse me. On whatever crane system they had on the top to drop the bells, would they have dropped them all the way down to a clear spot on the ground, or so they had to have enough travel to drop them to the ground?
No, they oftentimes got them down to the top of the cast house roof, open up the cast house and drop them into the cast house.
Oh.
Or put some tackle on them and hold them out at an angle to get to a clear
okay.
spot.
No.
Or they would put staging up here somewhere, drop it on and then transfer it off. It got complicated to get those babies down, some furnaces. All right, let's see another one.
This was one of a pair of Republic furnaces on the west side of the Cuyahoga River. I don't know what the designations were, but they were demolished by the mid to late 80s, I know that.
This is a small furnace. This baby in here has a relatively small stack. And notice again, we only have 4 very short uptakes coming here. That uptake stops right here. You got your elbow coming down here. Over here, it looks like the single, nope, there's 2 of them. There's 2 uptakes on this side of the furnace, coming out of the furnace here, which have your blow-off and explosion doors up on the top. And relatively small furnace. Notice here, they got 2 jib cranes up here to service this one. And also the trolley beam crane going into here. Now notice this one only goes over to here, just short of, approximately on the center line. So that they could just reach down through all this debris in here to pick up the bells. Now when they took out the bells, they had to remove part of the skip hoist top and the hoppers to be able to get to the bells. So there was a lot of mechanism had to be removed up here, dropped off, and so on. You can imagine the maintenance crew didn't really care for this project. Notice also we have columns here and here supporting the platform at the top. Take a look at this column here with the triangular shape back here as well, so you can get some stiffness into that structure. Anytime they could make it stiffer, they did. So this, I suspect, is a later addition, as things got a little wobbly up here. Again, 2 downcomers. Again, we have high pressure relief coming up here, probably wandering off into here. This is the dust catcher down here, with piping coming off the top of the dust catcher to go over to a very large gas washer right in here. This is the gas washer, platforming and piping all around that gas washer. And again, more pressure relief coming off of the gas washer down here. 4 stoves in here. Again, different heights on the stoves, depending on which period they were replaced or repaired.
What are those black spots in the cast house?
These were, looks like some kind of holes in there. I'm not quite sure just what the hell they were at this point. They're holes of some kind, it looks like, or don't know.
well, there's too much of a road here.
They're standardized for some purpose.
Lifting ring maybe? Lifting ring where you can put a bolt or an eye through it and
Could be.
lift it off?
Could be.
Might have mounted some scaffold in there for some rebuild or something.
Yeah, and there are several different possibilities.
Some off the road.
First time I've seen it, I've never seen that before. This photograph's been a large person, I would have seen it. All right, let's hit another one. It's another Cleveland one?
This is the same, I think this is the same one as the previous one.
No, it's all different up, it's different up here.
Excuse me, it's the same complex. It's the
Same
sister.
complex.
It's the sister, yeah. This was the one in the south, I think.
Yeah, but take a look right up here. You'll notice the combination up here where you have 4 uptakes here coming up, cross piece here, but notice the triangular shapes here to some increase in your airflow, but it was straight at the top. And then you have your double down comer coming down, one on each side. Again, now here's your craneway in here going into the center, so this has got a substantial one. And here, notice this triangular mast up here with a jib boom on it. The jib boom will do the rotation, so this is off center up at the top. Interesting variation there, and your bridge going over to the tops of the stoves. And notice your sheaves back here to redirect your cables down to the hoisting engines for the skip hoist. Several pyrometer platforms located in here, servicing platforms, so you can skip in the furnace. Next.
The top on that is kind of like a cone too, instead of the dome type thing that you can see.
Yeah, now this is
That's the same one
same
as...
furnace from the opposite direction.
Yeah.
This is a gas washer here. They had double, looks like they had, no, excuse me, this is the dust catcher.
That's the dust collector.
This is the dust catcher. But notice the unusual shape of the piping coming over to the gas washer here. Big arch, basically. Double down comer. Gas washer coming, feeds down, comes back up, feeds over here. Second gas washer in here, piping coming down, and to be distributed to the rest of the plant, to the stoves. Notice your lightweight truss system and here and the vents in here to support the bridge. A lot of piping, a lot of water piping through here for all that water going into those gas washers. And notice all the streaking on it, great for weathering on this particular furnace.
I have it after it shut down.
Yeah. This is one of your, there's 2 bridges back here.
Twin bridges.
Twin bridges.
One of them's still there.
All right, that's been identified. Notice also here, this pipe, gas pipe coming off here, looks like a clean gas main. This is a very large expansion plate system in your double plate diaphragm between. But notice your single column coming up here. It looks like a pipe with several small flanges at the bottom supporting your gas pipes. That was one standard technique. You'll find it on a lot of steel mills. Nice place. Okay, this is the same furnace, opposite direction. Again, you can see your down comer here with your very large pipe coming across. Second, another furnace back here, but this is a much larger system of piping at the top for your uptakes and your down comer. This is the other furnace in the line.
But that's the one on the south end.
Yeah,
The
this
one
is
on the right south, and the one here is the north one.
Yeah, this is the north, this is the south end furnace. So this is just a different view of that previous furnace. Oh, right here, you'll see some staves, reinforcements for your jacket, probably in a heat-sensitive area. They may have added that after they sensed some heat buildup. Next, please.
This, I believe, is an overall view of J&L C1, which is still in service there.
This is not the one I have some notes on one of the other furnaces.
This was Iron and Steel Engineer, February 1959, pages 86 to 104 will tell you more than you ever wanted to know about this site.
Yeah, okay, I don't have that particular volume. What's that, 1959?
59.
Okay, I don't think I have that one. But this particular one right here, you can identify the boilers are in here for the blower house. This is probably the blower house down here. And again, this is a furnace that's built, probably it's a circa World War II furnace. And it's built basically in the same style as, again, in plan set number 2. A.G. McKee & Company, based in Cleveland, did an awful lot of work through both the Cleveland district and down in the Pittsburgh district for several companies. They did almost all of U.S. Steel's furnaces. And you can tell an A.G. McKee & Company furnace by the signature coming into the top of the dust catcher right here. This particular shape up here for your repair cranes is almost identical to all the other AG McKees. And the whole style and structure of the top, if you look at a number of their furnaces, it's got a signature to it. So this is probably in the 40s when this thing was built. That's definitely an AG McKee and Company cast house. They were a complete engineering organization, and I've heard that their archives are still maintained by another engineering company, I think Drabel, but I'm not absolutely positive. And it's one of the days I'm going to chase it down. But anyway, this is your boiler plant down here, and we're receiving clean gas from over here by some pipe.
All right, I might as well go on to the level.
This is Duquesne, okay. The SIA journal from, what's that date on that?
June of '93.
June of '93. It's got an awful lot of information on the Duquesne Works history. A lot of very valuable information. I believe Pennsylvania Engineering Corporation built these furnaces, and I think there are some drawings of these. The original construction drawings are up in the archives at Easton. Interesting note on this piece, take a look at the skip hoist, which is bent in the up here. It is not a straight run skip hoist. This was not very common. Also, these skip hoists on several of the Duquesne furnaces are freestanding. They're not supported by the furnace top. So this particular one looks like it's supported by the furnace top. Partially, it does not have the framework in some of the other units do. Notice the truss or the plate girder ridge going across. You don't see that very often going off over the stove. Standard stoves. Take a look at the dome on the top of the stove. This particular dome and many, many others were not done as a full hemisphere, it's a partial hemisphere. So there's a distinct angle between this particular line right around the furnace. And one of the mistakes made, by me included back in my early days when I first started this construction of furnaces, was putting complete hemispheres on. Some were done, but most weren't. I use Christmas tree ornaments for these, for the models. Again, cast house roof down here, lots of ventilation. This is your skip hoist engine house over here. This is probably that is probably a gas main feeding off. This is, it doesn't look like a vessel pipe going into there. Again,
Was that out of commission?
may well have been.
What's the date?
A little hard to tell on that. It's 86. Probably was out of commission on that.
Because it looks like there's things growing on it.
Yeah. Now take a look up here. Here's your furnace top platform, your bell platform. Notice how high these particular uptakes or downcombers come off, whereas opposed to some of the others that were way down here.
It was probably shut down there because they had that lockout in '86. And they still have been in service, but it was shut down.
This furnace was not in operation. They wouldn't have had stuff growing out of it. It was in operation. All right, next one. Okay, Duquesne's. Yeah, another one of the furnaces. Interesting set of steel structure up here. Notice the very high building back here, and your cable entrances for your skip hoist coming out way the hell and going out here. Very high structure back here. And there's more structure on that back there. I think these were steam in here. Steam engines in that. These stacks back here were not actually part of the stoves. Stoves are down on this line. I believe these were part of the powerhouse. There were several powerhouses located between the furnaces. Very high stacks of those, and very high buildings for those power houses. And this was, it looks like this one was in demolition. They were starting the demolition at this particular point. But take a look at your buildings in here. The little arched windows in here, sheet metal roofs, and probably some brick and stone, brick structures in there in some of those buildings. So a combination of materials. All right, let's hit another one. And this is Braddock.
Is your Edgar Thompson?
Wait a minute, go back to that last photograph. Yeah, go back, yeah. Okay, this is probably Edgar Thompson Works. Very hard to get photographs of those furnaces because they're buried in that plant, and you got to do it for public property. But again, take a look at this one. Here's your uptake coming up, downcomer coming down, joining here, coming down to your dust catcher somewhere over here, joining together right here and going further down to your dust catcher. Notice how far out they came, quite a distance out. And again, these things were reinforced. See all the bolt heads up here? They probably had wear plates inside of these things because they had an awful lot of erosion up here in the steel. Again, interesting structure in here. Edgar Thompson, at one time, I think had 7 furnaces. I'm not absolutely, 6 or 7 furnaces in line, and gradually were whittled down over the years and changed drastically. Several were torn down early. In 1943, they built the B&C furnaces, which are now 1 and 2, not 5 and 6, as they're in the SIA journal. I don't know who screwed that one up. But 1 and 2 are the B&C furnaces built in 1943 as 1,300 ton. This thing, I believe, was rated somewhere in about 700, 800 ton. It's an older furnace. All right, let's see another one. Where are we again? Here, this is Braddock.
It's all Braddock.
All right, this is one of the other older furnaces. And again, notice here, downcomer's coming out. But take a look at the curve in that sucker, right here. You want to be the sheet metal guy laying that one out? All right, ditto up here. And notice all the various sundry angles are coming down. One of the biggest problems that they finally figured out in these things with all this piping is the turbulence and the pressure drops that they had in all this various and sundry length problem. The piping was ultimately causing major problems in the gas flow. And that's one reason why they eventually went to the very high structures on the top of the furnace to equalize the distance the gas was flowing to stop the turbulence and the Venturi effects. Again, here's your crane coming out. Take a look at your jib crane up here. Notice that here's your operating lines going up to the bell, some of the explosion doors and mechanisms. Notice here you see a line just dropping here. And so we had all sorts of unusual cables going up to the top of this particular furnace leading in various directions. Again, you can see all sorts of cooling plates down here, multiple platforms, a skirt roof to protect that furnace shell, which was partially exposed at that point. So we have lots of additional platforming and staircases on this one. All right, here's another one. Excuse me, carry furnaces. Number 1 and 2, built 1947. A.G. McKean Company was the engineers. These furnaces were originally rated at 1,300 tons. They are identical in all manner to the Edgar Thompson B&C furnaces in my plan set number 2, except they had more space out here to put in the gas cleaning equipment than they did over at Edgar Thompson. These, as I said, they're identical furnaces. By the time this photograph was taken, they had extended the stoves over here to get higher heating capacity. These were probably up to about 2,000 tons a day instead of 1,300 tons by this particular point. Down here, there were originally 2 precipitators located in here in 1947. They show up in photographs in several other publications, but they had long since been removed. This is an 8-foot, 3-inch diameter gas main that goes through the entire plant, all the way here, through the wall, and circles around the other furnaces that are over there in that corridor. It almost circles the entire plant. The blowing engines for this particular set of furnaces were located somewhere over here and came by piping. These big buildings here, which look like where the blowing engines were not. This is the boiler house, and these were generators in here. This was the power plant feeding the rest of the plant. So they brought in the coal blast from the adjacent furnaces. And back here is one of your ore bridges. Your bridge is over here. You can't see it, it's just out of sight. Actually, it's buried back in here. We took the hot metal across the river to Homestead. The Homestead open hearths and blast furnaces across the river down about where the painting is. So this particular set of furnaces were, quote, modern, unquote, 1947. They were there until the bitter end. The furnaces are left are down the other end. Next, please. This is number 7 at Cary Works. 6 and 7 were together with the stoves overlapping. So that both sets of stoves were in the same vicinity. And these lines you see here are your skip hoist lines going way off to outside, past the cast house to the engine house over here. There were steam engines in there. And again, double downcombers and on the low side of this thing, and very compact, very tight. Now down here, this furnace was reinforced by a set of very heavy metal staves going both horizontal and vertical to keep that shell in line. All these are still standing. You can still get photographs of them from the CSX line and up on the hill and across the river with good telephoto lens. And they're trying to preserve them. God knows if they're going to make a success of it. The problem is that they tore down all the rest of the steel plants around there, so they're like these lone Stonehenge monuments sitting out in the middle of an open field at this particular point. All right, so another one.
Fairfield, Alabama.
Okay, Fairfield, I don't have information on as far as this particular plant in any of my archives.
That it? Okay. Oh,
This particular set of furnaces, again, is a classic example of the older furnaces here with rebuilds and or modern. This looks like a relatively modern furnace, probably from the 40s or 50s. This looks like another one of that particular period that was a rebuild. This looks like your boiler house down here feeding your glowing engines back in this area somewhere. Again, I don't have a real dimensional data or any hard information on this particular plant.
but that site's still in operation.
Yeah, Mike, right now, the bigger one, I believe, is number 8, which is still in service. They're relining it, or they've just finished the reline, and now it's conveyor fed
Okay.
from a stock house, which would be behind this view.
Yeah, there's your original skip hoist right there.
Now, there, they numbered the sites for blast furnaces, but there were never more than 5 and probably only 4. They didn't use all the spots that were numbered, that's why the existing one is number 8.
Okay. That's not uncommon. You see that in a number of the plants. And this thing shifted.
Now, that silver-looking building is still there, was last time I looked. The rest of the blast furnaces are, of course, all gone now, unfortunately.
So is there only one left?
Only one.
Okay, only one left. All right.
Now, the coke plant would have laid on the other side of it too, but that's all gone now too. There were 8 coke batteries at a big byproducts facility and a refractory facility over there.
All right.
And they were set up to conveyor feed the coke to a big silo, which started that view, and then into the stock house and on up, to the current furnace. But now they have 2 dump houses, one on either side of the stock house, and they feed it to the back of a big conveyor system.
Well, one other note from the architectural standpoint, take a look at your old brick building over here and your modern shiny steel building over here. Good juxtaposition. And also, all of the piping here, big tester, right in here. And here's a bottle car right down here. Coming up with big caster down here.
Now that plant's currently running 20 bottle cars in service.
We should give you an assignment, get some photographs. Okay, want to hit another one?
Keep going with this one. That's Fairfield too.
All right, an old furnace, very small stack in here. Again, this whole thing about this downcombers, big fat ones up here, they're slightly diseased. And skip hoist back here, standard open skip hoist. Again, this is a pressure relief going way up here, explosion door up there, coming off the top of your gas washer back, or your dust catcher, dust catcher right here.
Where's that flamingo on the left side of that?
That looks like a light fixture right there. And some kind of a pipe sticking up.
That's got heavy forest growing on top there.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see some trees over here. Obviously slightly abandoned at this particular point. But again, an older small furnaces. These downcomer diameters in here probably around 6 feet, 5 or 6 feet. Not that large, actually. All right, might be a little hidden over here. All right, here's the same place. There's your, take a look at these marvelous long high stacks coming off of both of the dust catchers in here. And, we got some live cars down here, obviously. Gas mains going through here. This is an echelon arrangement where we're coming in 15 or 20 degrees on an angle, so we have the furnaces in line. So these two were built identical at the same time. And lots of nice, interesting piping bridges. Those are very high set of piping going across right here. Very high up in the air, with a big truss work supporting them underneath. All right.
Is that the kite work to the left, just above the skid place?
No, that wouldn't be the coke works. That looks like some kind of building back in the High Line. Back here?
Yeah.
No, that's not a coke works. That's some kind of just a building, probably High Line related.
I was looking at the, like bins underneath there.
Yeah, no, that's no coke works back there. Next, please.
Gas and all that.
I have no real information on this, although we can quickly derive that this is not a very big furnace. This is probably a 16-foot hard diameter, probably only around 500 tons.
Dale, you were saying this is still in existence.
Yeah, there's, were two furnaces there at Gadsden. Now they changed ownership, but recently they were Gulf State Steel. It was Republic for a while, and then Gulf State Steel. And in the Gulf State Steel there, they would give tours. I got the blast furnace up there. But there's a little odd arrangement. Only one blast furnace is in service, but they use both sets of stoves, I guess, to get more heating capacity.
Yeah.
Or gas flow capacity. That's the only place though that I'm aware of using a total it's either 6 or 7 stoves. I think there's an odd number on one of them.
All right. Take a look though at your very large plate girder up here on the top, supporting your skip hoist top up here, and your bell arms are way high up here. Here's your skip hoist sheaves here, double skip hoist sheaves going back here. Skip hoist lines coming down. Good illustration of an open goggle valve over here. And again, take a look at your steel structure here. Narrow steel structure right here with bracing coming off and down via bracing to your furnace shell underneath. Enclosed rails here. Little platform over here. It doesn't look like it has any decking on it at this particular point. Again, probably for servicing or probably for clean out holes. At one time. Platforms going down here. And it's an old furnace. They probably are getting 700 to 800 tons a day out of it now, but I wouldn't say much more than that.
For those of you building the Walters effort, using the steel plate railings is just one heck of a lot easier than putting the stuff on they provide. Just much easier.
Good point. All right. Let's hit another one.
The Gadsden plant currently is the highest polluter in the state of Alabama.
Yes.
I hope that do be this record.
I would be surprised considering the age of those furnaces.
But that plant, if you ever get a chance to go through there, it's about an hour by car northwest of Birmingham. There's a perimeter road that circles the whole plant. Now, they won't let you take pictures on the tour inside, but you can photograph just about everything from the perimeter road. And there's a secondary state highway that goes over an overpass over the throat to the railroad yard that feeds up towards the cast house. And it's kind of like those pictures off that Clark Avenue Bridge. You're looking right into the cast house on the furnace.
Well, why didn't you
Yes,
take
sir.
some photographs and bring them? All right.
That's in Birmingham. I've got
Next
boxes
year.
of that stuff.
Well, okay,
But,
we're gonna have to take a special collection up here to contribute to shipping them up here for the next meeting, okay? Again, an older furnace, you know, this is a pressure relief going up to a zone explosion door. Elevator goes back here. I can't say much more about these furnaces, I don't have the information. He's got all the information back here. All right. Next, please. And last and again, yeah, we've already seen this furnace. Here's your big plate girder structure up here at the top. Take a look at your ridge crane, the crane coming off the side here of the furnace, coming off the top of this big plate girder structure. It's a bit of an unusual structure up there. Big open cast house in here, and this one looks like you can drive up into it. That may have been a pig bed cast house at one time. It's sort of got the signature of it. Because there's no real provision for ladle cars coming into that place, it looks like. Rusty as hell, that's for sure. All right, let's hit another one.
All right, this is J. Mills Eliza Furnace in Pittsburgh.
Okay, this one I got lots of information on. 1954 in one of the iron and steel engineer proceedings. There were originally 6 furnaces in here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 used to be on this center line right here, and this is 6. Originally in 1954, this furnace down here had already been converted to the form you see, whereas this furnace, this one, and this one look like they're in their original form. 2 different sizes of furnaces. There's a very small, lightweight structure top furnace right in here, probably a very small furnace.
Number 2.
Well, no, it started from this end. This is 1. That was number 5.
Number, Mike, so we get it on tape.
1, 2, starting
On
from
the right.
the right-hand side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 5 is gone. It's not here. We're down to 5 furnaces at this point. They probably kept the same numbering. These furnaces here, this one and this one were rated at approximately 750 to 800 tons a day, upwards of about 1,000 tons a day if they push it. This little one in here was down at about 650 or 700.
So you know on the table.
Number 4. Thank you. Number 4 was rated, I believe, about 650 to 700 tons, and they could push it maybe to 800. This one in the middle was normally rated about 900. They could get it. Number 3. Number 3 was rated at about 900 with maximum capacity of about 1,100 tons. This particular set of furnaces had an enclosed 2-track high line with all sorts of steam heating and gas piping going along to heat the cars. It was completely rail supplied. They had no ore bridge connected with this. They did have a reserve stockpile of about 80,000 tons of material some distance away. I don't know exactly where it was.
Excellent model type prototype here.
Yeah, they were solely dependent upon the ore stockpiles up here at Ashtabula, Conneaut, and so on. But you'll notice that these buildings on top of the stockhouse in here were the hoist houses for these particular furnaces. Now across the river, here's one of your open houses across the river. Right back here, and you'll see it in the next photograph, is the hot metal bridge going across the river. Next, please. Here is, let me see if we can focus that just a little bit more. Okay. This is another one of the furnaces which has some resemblance. This is actually close to the size of the Walters furnace. Number one furnace. The top works, the uptakes, come up to a center point, but there are 2 downcomers, one on this side and one over here. They come down to a dust catcher which is located back of the stoves in here. So that this particular furnace is one of those strange combinations of structure design. Whereas the older furnace over here, notice we have the 2 uptakes here, but we have a downcomer on this side coming off the top center and coming off the top center up here. So we have a couple different strange combinations of piping on these furnaces. Again, here we have a total of 8 stoves going between, slightly different heights in here, not uncommon. Go back to the last photograph, if you will, please. But down here, take a look at this. And over here, same thing. Take a look right here. Furnaces, stoves all through this plant of various heights, depending on which rebuild happened at what year, at what time, and the whims of the engineers. Good model builder's furnace in that set of furnaces in that respect. Go on back to the next one, please. The next furnace. Here's your hot metal bridge going over here. Here are open hearths and rolling mills across the river, all part of the same plant. And
It's all gone now except for the hot metal bridge and a powerhouse that's behind there somewhere.
right down here are some of the piping for your car melting, both steam pipes and gas pipes in there. They had a big problem in the winters, you can imagine. All right, next please. Pittsburgh.
Right,
Eliza, this might be that center. Go back to 3 slides ago. Let's go back. That one, yeah, go back to the Eliza furnace. Yeah, number 4.
Number 4.
Eliza furnace.
This is number, sorry, 30.
Again, as you see what I mean about a lightweight top works up here in that respect. In fact, we don't have much in the way of downcombers. These are only explosion doors up here. And very, very bad piping arrangement coming off this furnace to handle the gas work.
That's number 4.
But take a look at your staircases going across the top of these marvelous variable height stoves in here. And the fact that the stoves for furnace number 3 almost dwarf that little furnace in here. This one, I believe, was the 700-ton furnace, and this, I think, had a 16-foot heart in it. And it was built quite early, apparently. They went through many different evolutions on this plant. But it was an old one. There's no question about this one. Next page. Pittsburgh. This looks like one of the Eliza furnaces.
Yes.
This is one of the Eliza furnaces. Now, which one would that be? Probably number 6. I think that's number 6.
No.
No, it wouldn't be.
On the left.
This would be number 2, possibly. We'd have to go back and cross-identify. And you have to play detective work on this stuff. Again, take a look down here. We have lots of cooling plates in this particular furnace. Again, all the downcombers coming down in the way they are. Lots of little cranes up here at the top. Play games with that. Here is a jib crane in the middle, up there. So, excuse me. All right, let's hit another slide. Pittsburgh, we're back to, I think this is the tail end of Eliza furnaces. Yeah.
What are these 2 horizontal?
The pipes right down here? Okay, we have, this is, where's the dust catcher in this sucker? The dust catcher's over here.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, here's the dust catcher right down here. Here's the pipe coming into the dust catcher. This looks like, coming off of this dust catcher, we've got a couple sets of piping coming off this dust catcher to a common, take a look, that's coming out the side of the dust catcher. Coming over here for some reason.
Got a door on the right end and the...
Yeah, got a door, here's some valves and things. And a whole batch of strange piping in there. I've never seen that one before. That's an unusual one.
Well, then we'll just put it down as strange pipe.
Strange
Strange
piping.
piping.
Got it, but it's strange pipe.
So be it.
Well, in houses, and water pipes in houses,
You can say, I have no idea.
those things like that are put in to prevent water. Would that be?
Could be something.
Good.
Yeah, they have, as I said, they had a lot of problems with gas flow in these old furnaces. They didn't understand gas
It
dynamics.
could be like a set of baffles or giving the gas a chance to move around and then exit.
Yep.
That's good.
Or to give it some expansion.
Mark that down, John. You know, our leader.
Right.
All right, let's go hit another one.
When it expanded, would that have given us a vacuum, Mike, or lowered the pressure?
At this particular point, I don't know what it would give them, because there's so many variations in that piping. But as soon as you expand gas, it's lower pressure, and will drop out dust. But that combination down there, God knows what it would do. Another Pittsburgh tank. This is a lot, yeah, this is another Eliza.
They're all Eliza.
Yeah, this is an Eliza furnace.
This is the next to last one.
Okay. All right, yeah, so this is, at this point, I'm not sure of the numbers at this point.
We have to compare them with the pictures.
Yeah, we'll have to compare them.
I've got prints of these, we can lay them out and study them.
Yeah. We're not gonna have to compare this one.
And
And
last
here's
but not
another.
least,
Yeah.
Eliza.
Yeah, we just saw this.
Oh, we just saw it, that's the duplicate, I'm sorry. Not, that's Eliza from the, straight on from the.
Straight on, same furnace that we just saw.
Yeah.
Get a little color on it right there.
That's a light distortion. Took that on my desk. All right, this is,
Oh,
Steubenville.
yeah, with these weird downcombers.
Is
Yeah.
this Wheeling, Pittsburgh, or Weirton?
This is Wheeling, Pittsburgh. Weirton is standard furnaces in that sense. Wheeling, Pittsburgh, very, very steep. Plate girder, skip hoist down here. Very, very steep on these furnaces. And there's no order, it's a very tight plant. I've got a full set of plans from the plant. Kim McCory got a set of insurance maps of this plant. The only thing missing is the cast house trackage. We got every piece of track of the plant, not the cast house trackage. So I've got, I think there's 5 sheets in the set. And it cost a small fortune to Xerox them. But we do have plans in this particular plant. There were 2 furnaces in here, of course. And this, no other plant I've seen outside of Europe has this weird downcomers up here. Because this furnace, the way it's constructed here, coming up to a center, could have taken the standard single downcomer coming down, instead of the doubles coming out of here.
The plant engineer was Herr Schleicher.
Well,
Probably.
I was gonna say, a lot of Polish immigrants that came in there, he said,
Yeah.
probably.
And so and this is a connecting bridge going between the furnaces here. All right. But take a look at that, very steep, very, very steep. Steep. No, this is the opposite furnace, because here's your bridge going off.
Yeah.
And,
They might have done that to give them more overall length.
again, I think it was gas flow situations. They were experimenting a lot with those. But, interesting design, if anybody wants to build that sucker. Okay. Same thing again. Yeah, again, the furnace on the other side. We keep switching back and forth here.
All right, Johnstown.
Johnstown,
We've got a sequence of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Johnstown shots.
again, Association of Iron and Steel Engineers has a profile of the plant. It gives you every dimension you ever want to know about these furnaces. Dates will be included in the final report. This is one of the relatively modern furnaces in here. But again, with double downcomers coming off this sucker. With a little tiny dust catcher, small dust catcher. Surprising.
What's that car in the foreground?
This car, safety or transfer car of some kind. What do you?
Made out of a gondola.
Yeah, it's a guy with a little house on it of some
Two windows
kind.
in the house there.
What do you think HFCE stands for?
H furnace.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, H furnace.
Okay.
Again, we have full dimensions on these furnaces,
Yeah.
dates it was built, and all this kind of
H
stuff.
furnace.
Notice how steep that cast house roof is. Looks like an alpine village in here.
Designed by Europeans again.
I never thought I'd hear you say that.
But notice your very, very large overhangs here to protect on the side for your slate pot side. Large overhang here, very large overhang.
Chalet style.
It is.
Excuse me.
But, okay, one other thing about Bethlehem plants, on your siding on these plants, they were not corrugated in many plants, they were flat steel. And just bolted on. So what you're seeing here is a lot of small pieces of steel plate. Probably the rejects from the rolling mill, when they put these things together. All right, hit the other.
Dale has a question.
Yes.
Since I'm from down south and have much experience what these things look like under winter snow conditions, Would they be hot enough to keep a snow load off, the roof at various parts, or would they accumulate ice?
Yeah,
and
there
snow?
was never much snow land around the furnace itself.
No, they
A
got
lot
hot
of water and mud.
Yeah, even during the winter, even during the dead of winter.
But the walkways wouldn't have, stove build up or stuff cooking out.
No.
Okay.
All right, and
Franklin Works, Johnstown again.
all right, this is one of the real old furnaces in the lower plant, I believe. And again, notice how steep this, very steep.
Oh, you
And
think this is in the lower works?
I think this is lower.
All right, well, this may be the one they were using for ferromanganese production, that all that's left is the stoves, you can see there. You look at
Yes.
Johnstown, you think there's a blast furnace, and all there's left is the stoves.
Yeah. But again, proportions here, take a look at the proportion here, the proportion up here, with a long, high top up here. And, but notice how high that skip hoist had to come up in here to dump. That's the reason for it. And take a look at the size of your hoist house back here. Humongous. And take a look at this nice little elevator coming up there. And piping, expansion joints in your pipes down here, probably a steam line. With what looks like a big gas main coming underneath here. And this thing is sort of full of zigzags all through this plant. When you look at that.
Is that style of cast house, is that the key design?
No, that is a Bethlehem steel design. That shows
Bethlehem
up-
steel design?
Yeah, that shows up in a number of Bethlehem.
Yeah.
Up on the hill, they had one hell of a management club.
Oh, did they? The stories about the one that they found at U.S. Steel's Gary Works, when some management inspectors from Pittsburgh came in, the guards at the one building in Gary Works tried to prevent these vice presidents from Pittsburgh from going into a building. Well, they got in and they found a huge club that was built by diverted funds.
This made country clubs look minor.
Yeah.
Ex-fiance's father managed one of the last.
All right, next photo. Johnstown. Again, this one is, I think, in the lower works. Now I can't remember the numbers on it. Okay, well, we got references to them in some of the literature, so we can chase it down. Again, that thing about the double down boomers coming down. And again, a small dust catcher down here. Very tight plant.
The horizontal pipe.
Yeah, again, that big horizontal pipe up there. And it sort of looks like it comes up and goes into that. To the side of this pipe and goes over here to some combinations of pipes.
It's exiting the dust collector.
Yeah, this is exiting the dust catcher up here, going over here to the gas cleaning equipment in here, but there's something strange coming down in here. I'm not quite sure. It's a little hard to decipher this one. It's a little weird. All right, but anyway, let's go on to the next one. The same furnace.
Johnstown.
Yeah, that looks like the same furnace.
2 dust collectors on it?
Yes, as a matter of fact, 2 dust collectors down there. And that's why we have some connection pipes in this particular piece. Relatively modern job. Take a look at your bracing up here and such, and holding that thing up. And here's your crane, and you notice some hooks over here on this particular crane trolley. Upside down swans. And a relatively modern, quote unquote, set of cranes on the top. All right? Yeah, same thing. You see the double dust catchers here. Right, there's your piping between. All right, that explains some of that. Menneson, I have no information on Menneson.
Wheeling, Pittsburgh, it's gone. You can see it from public streets. Old.
Yeah, it is old. There's no question about it.
This is one of the sites that the Smyrna Park Club sort of based their model on.
Yeah, take a look at some of the strange uptakes in here and strange caps that look like bottle caps up here. Speaking about it, this looks like an upside down funnel up here. Take a look at the structure here coming up to your platform up here. This baby, and this is some of your crane supports out here. That's an old furnace that's been rebuilt so many times I can't figure that one out. South Chicago.
U.S. Steel.
Right. I don't have information on this particular plant. It's an old plant. I suspect it was built back around 1915, that period. It sort of looks like it from some of the other plants that were built contemporary with it.
Is that one torn down?
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah, southwards.
Oh, there's a recent movie that was filmed there. Drama about the plot involved cold fusion. I could get the name of it because I've got it there at the house, but they shot it during the demolition of the plant to show a bomb explosion effect, you know, but there's some scenes with most of it still intact. And then you get it at the video store. It's worth probably copying 5 minutes out of it if you're interested in that film.
Southwards and then.
Yeah. Old furnace, same kinds of comment. Take a look. This skip hoist incident was supported by vents back here. It's freestanding skip hoist. It's not being supported by the furnace top. Take a look at all your columns back in here. Incidentally, some of the Duquesne furnace skip hoists were self-supported too. They were not supported by the furnace stack. Gary? Okay. I do have a plan of the Gary plant in one of my volumes. I have not attempted to reproduce it because I don't have tracing paper that's about 18 feet wide by 100 feet long. The plant is beyond humongous. But again, a series of older furnaces in here. Here's one of the original furnaces back here. Down doors and such, all old furnace, small. New furnace,
Left.
Yeah, the left side. They're going down to the new, probably the newest one, all the way down to the tail end, which would be, I think they counted from number 1 down here. There were 12 furnaces in line. Number 1 was on the left. 12 furnaces in line originally. This particular one shows number 1 and number 3 as still in their original form, and it looks like 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 show up in this particular photograph.
Is there one missing out of that gap there?
Might be one missing, but we might have some other furnaces down on the left-hand side of the photograph.
He's got a whole slew of pictures of these now.
Yeah. Marvelous shot. This is a good over. Take a look at the octagonal cast house of this one, and your interesting down corners in here going off to a dust catcher and the skip hoist side, which is not as common as most operations have. And you'll see back here one of the trains coming in on the ore side of the bins back here. And this has a 3-track set, 3 bin tracks back here, where there's 2 tracks right here and there's a 3rd track back here. Rest of the plant over here is boiler plant, boiler houses, and onto the open hearths to your left on this particular photograph. Gary, more of the older, same furnace, just a slightly different view. Further down the line, one of the more modern furnaces from the opposite side, opposite direction. This is from the north side and of the furnace, and this is one of the, looks like a rebuild of an existing older furnace with a relatively new top put on it for increased capability.
And
Lots
this
of-
is slide.
Lots of slate pots. And here's one of the old furnaces with a little tiny rebuild top. Basically what they did is they took one of the old existing sets of uptakes and stacked on top of it some new piping. They take a look at it. That is almost directly comparable in size to that first set of furnaces we were looking at. And with a big dust catcher over here, they probably did some changes down in the Bosch and hearth and crease down there. And again, still the old original furnace in there. Bottle cars right down here.
The 12 furnaces, they must have been awful congested getting the slag and metals in and out of that.
Probably talking, I'm not sure how many crews they had. This looks like another, this was taken obviously from an adjacent furnace, so one of the old originals. This is probably number 3 in the way we're counting the furnaces. But again, you notice what's happened here. On the newer rebuilds, they put the dust catchers out where they can get at them and have bigger size. These had the dust catchers tucked in here in a very tight location, probably causing all sorts of traffic problems underneath. And more of the same furnace. Here's your dust catcher back here. You can see how tight that was in there. Yeah, stairway all over this thing. Oh, go back to that one. There's something in there. See the columns and the truss work right here? They're supporting this particular skip hoist by these columns right in here. So this one is not a free, the skip hoist is not being totally supported by the furnace. Baltimore, one of the older furnaces. Again, look at your cast house. All right, same shape as we saw at Johnstown. So it's a signature of Bethlehem structure. This is one of the oldest furnaces. Take a look at the staves supporting the furnace shell. Take a look at the very lightweight topworks on that thing. Old furnace. Ditto down here. This looks like a companion as far as construction.
That's looking, left is east, right is west. They originally were A through K. Depending on who you talk to, there was or was not an I. You know, they don't. And now there's two of them left in that row. And they, let's see here. Somewhere I found that A through C were still standing as of 1975. They weren't the original A, but they were.
I think there's still a couple standing down there.
Yeah, there's two still standing. The ones that are standing are J and H and K or H and J.
Besides the big one.
Yeah, besides L. Yeah.
The archives at Easton have a photograph book of the original plant.
Yes.
The original plant in gorgeous photographs.
There's also a bunch of stuff on the original plant at Hagen.
Yeah. Well, this one's an open presentation book. I mean, it's got the insides of the blowing house and everything. So, hit the next one. Ditto, same furnace, or same, basic furnace line. I'm not sure which
One of the
furnace.
sisters.
Yeah, one of the sister furnaces. Again, one of the other furnaces at Sparrows Point. Take a look at all the platforms going around the shell. On this one, this has got more of a structure up the top. This is a larger furnace, a later furnace, or a rebuild of one of those older originals. Can't tell which one. Ditto, one of the old furnaces. Old furnace. Not much up there. Take a look at your laced steel up here. Start dating that one. Again, one of the upgrades could be the same furnace that we just saw previously. Hard to tell with this particular point. Incidentally, take a look at the individual little repair crates up here on top of the explosion doors. Little structures. One of the modern furnaces, quote unquote, or a rebuild of one of the older into a more modern form, that looks like from the 30s and 40s. Probably the 40s. Ensley, I have almost no information to speak of on, except that it is a very old plant. And this looks like a big bed cast house plant at one time. The length of those cast houses gives the impression that's a big bed cast house. But take a look at those furnaces. Very, very simple, lightweight structure at the top. These are very old furnaces, probably been built about the turn of the century. That's about maybe 1910.
And it was gone by late 85.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike,
Yes.
well, I want to go back to that other one.
There's a bunch of them on Ensley in here.
Oh, okay.
You want to say something about the overall?
Well, one of them, if you go back, I'll show you what's left of it. There's one building shell out here, and these stacks still exist on the left, on these bigger ones. But one of these was for ferromanganese, and the other one was for company foundry use. They cast all kind of things out of iron. They even had iron picture frames ordered, castings for the executives and things. And one of the smaller ones, according to my informant, the top blew off one time. They had a hang-up with things that generated too much pressure. And the top was just held on by its own weight and actually lifted off.
Right.
But
Probably something down here where there seems to be a missing glass furnace down here on the right-hand side. Stoves are a little far away.
But they had sinks in the later era, and one of the weird things that they did there, they went uphill. There was a grade crossing right up in here over about 6 tracks. and they pushed over the grade crossing uphill to the open heart. And they had red Vespers and open hearts and duplex process. So, you know, it was horrendous traffic problems as they were going over there because they wanted a running start to get up the grade to the open heart.
Okay.
You know, so there was many traffic problems down there. There's still two of the mill locomotives in that area out in the field now.
Yeah, as I said, take a look where this downcomer is coming, off the side of the top work, of the furnace stack. Old style, like 1895, 1900, 1910 at the maximum. Ditto here, you see this coming out from the sides. That is old. Put an example of it right here. Notice the access door in it? And dust catcher down here. These are 500-ton-a-day furnaces.
Grab iron steps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'd like to find out that day.
the grab iron steps, yeah.
Trees.
Yeah, the little trees going up here. Notice lace work up here. Take a look at this jib crane. That's a chain up there. That's all driven by chain. That jib crane. That's what you would get the bell out. You might notice on that last photograph with the cast house shape, and again on this one, it's an awful lot like Bethlehem.
That was U.S. Steel one, right?
Hensley?
Final years, I think.
Yeah.
It was Tennessee Coal and Iron built it, and then they were bought out about 1900 by U.S. Steel.
Yeah.
But it's a little confusing because they still operated under the TCI division name.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Bethlehem.
Never was under Bethlehem control.
But it looks like the same engineer came up with some of the original ideas. Yeah.
Wisconsin Steel, the north side of Chicago had that same chalet.
Okay, I don't have photographs of the blast furnaces up there, but that's all. Okay, again, you know, take a look at this open right here. Right? And interesting design idea for you. Again, take a look at your downcombers coming out of there. Tight plant, obviously, very tight space plant.
They had a 10-degree curve in under for the Continental cars. And on a down grade, they had a tremendous number of derailments in the later days down in there.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. All right, again, pretty self-explanatory as far as what you're seeing on this particular one. Yeah. Again, it's your jib crane up here. Notice how wide that is up at the top. God, there's a lot of junk in there, isn't there?
It's a wreck.
Yeah. Plants are a wreck. You're
That
right.
was a year and a half before it was demolished.
Again, you can see the very simple, lightweight structure of that. The Mingo Junction.
Mingo Junction, we've all seen that.
Yeah, we've all seen Mingo Junction. Again, this furnace, you notice very strong similarity between this and some of the other furnace tops that we've seen in some of the other plants. 4 high columns, and notice the steel structure in here. This particular one looks like a plan that went through a number of steel plants, say at the early part of the century when they were building these. But take a look also, we have 3 cast stoves up here. This line, this major pipe at the top of the stove, is your cold blast coming in from the blowing engines. The air would go down, up, down, and into the bustle pipe. And then there'd be a big valve up here. There'd be a big crossover valve to turn this blast off and permit the gas, which is being burned at the bottom, comes up, down, and up out the stack.
Good, thank you. See you Sunday.
Saturday night.
No, this is Saturday.
That's right.
See you Sunday.
We'll see you again Saturday.
Mingo Junction, down in the pit, you know.
They had the section in the book on stoves, but they're all European stoves except for this one at Mingo Junction, so.
All right, well, take a look back here. We got a brick building back in here, all arch tops and such. Probably a blowing house. Neville Island. Famous Neville Island, there's nobody that ever get into it.
Are those blast furnaces both gone now? Neville?
Yeah, we were there Tuesday.
Take a look at your very lightweight structure of the skip hoist. Tuesday. Take a look at your wheel.
Hey, you're paying the airfare.
Take advantage of it.
Ride Tuesday at noon, we're in Neville Island by 1 o'clock.
These are blast furnaces down in Birmingham. Again, lake girder, but take a look. This is basically a chunk of bridge, deck bridge. Take a look where your skip cars are down inside of it. Very simple top works. Here's your receiving hopper, and here's your bell structure in here. And this one had a single down cover coming off this side, going down to the dust catcher. Dust catcher's down in here. And very, very simple furnaces, old furnaces. Not sure what the date is. These have been documented, so there's documentation of this.
This
Still there.
This is,
Oh, there's a book, I believe, that's just been done on sloths too,
Oh, okay.
but I haven't had a chance to see a copy of it, but it's apparently, serious, effort on it.
One furnace is totally cosmetically restored. And the other one, they're in the process of painting it and protecting it, kind of, stabilizing it, yeah.
There's two examples, real unusual, hot metal car, the first model cars from Pollock are parked out there, we can see it too.
I think I've seen that picture recently.
Okay.
I'll go with that one.
Yeah, Bethlehem. Okay, on the left-hand side, A furnace.
And Brendan's buildings in the foreground.
Brandon's buildings in the foreground. Okay, let me go through this one. A furnace is on the left-hand side. That's got the original furnace shell with a 1950s, 40s, 50s style topworks put onto it. But it's still the original shell and the original stoves, which are pre-pass.
And it looks like
All-
it came, skip hoist,
I don't believe so, no, I think it's a straight skip hoist. This particular, B furnace, C furnace, D, E are all total rebuilds at one time or another after they either blew up or were rebuilt. F and G, long gone. F and G were down here on the right-hand side, they've been long gone.
Like the big pipe that you see along the other side along the river, it runs in front of all the blast furnaces. What is that pipe?
That was pollution control. That was,
Where does that come from and where does it go to?
it was picking up from various and sundry cast houses, I believe. It was going to some kind of bag house.
All right.
Down the line. There are a series of bag houses, a couple of big bag houses back here. These stoves are original on C furnace. Everything else is a rebuild in this plant at one time or another. They're huge. It's a huge plant. Of course, this is basically being preserved right now because they can't really tear it down. You've got too much asbestos in it. So they're trying to preserve it. This furnace plant started out as basically an anthracite furnace plant with top charge, wheelbarrow top charge furnaces in basically the same line that you see here. Torn down at the turn of the century. Second set of furnaces put in, they were torn down in 1915. 1915 is when they built the original.
One slide.
One slide.
I told you not everybody had to stand up for it.
Getting old. You getting that right?
Here for the free,
Well,
it's published.
anybody that complains, it's $20 a copy for the transcript.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody that left early.
The
Anybody
original
that stayed
double, right?
gets a discount. The keys for it.
Yeah, wait a second. Wait till these guys get done with the tape recorder here. Does that look like it's recording? All right, back to what I was saying. First plant was built early, later part of the 19th century. I'm just trying to go here. As a top-loading wheelbarrow type plant. I think there were 4 furnaces in that plant. Then they went to basically, I think, 6 furnaces in about the turn of the century. 1915 is when they built in A through G furnaces, all basically the same furnaces. And then over the years, this evolution has happened, as you can see, and depending on which set of photographs you look at, you'll see gradually all of them start to have this modern top. So at the present time, we don't know quite what the preservation state is, what's going to happen, but hopefully we'll be able to say something.
Which was the last one that was operating?
Last one that was operating, I believe, was B. Or no, it was,
I thought it was C or D.
it was D. It was D first. D first. All right, let's look at the D first.
Last one, I think he's got the date wrong on this one, because I don't believe that was still there in 1986. Because I was in Pittsburgh in 86, and I drove through there, and I'm sure I would have stopped and taken a picture of that view if it had been there.
Okay, McKeesport, 4 furnaces. Basically, they started out all the same size, but you can see that there's been several different, there's some height variations in this thing depending on which rebuild happened when. And you'll notice that some of the stoves have different spacing, and as near as I can figure out, there's 3 stoves here. There's one, it's an L-shaped pattern.
On the right.
Yeah, I believe on the right. This one right here is an indication of another stove back of this one, because they would probably never have wanted to run 2 furnaces on 5 stoves.
Yeah.
They always want at least 3, if not 4. And many of the older plants had 4. Now, in one of the books that I have with me tonight, I don't know if it's the Dover book or one of the others, there's a photograph from the opposite side of the river. In back of the first 2 furnaces on the left-hand side, there is located a roundhouse back in there, which has got a steam engine down there with it. So it's an older photograph. And also not showing are all the stacks and such of the powerhouses that are all back in here, back in the furnaces. And so if anybody wants to look at it, I've got that photograph over here. I don't have a slide of it. But this photograph, well, I don't know. Somebody take a look at these automobiles. There's an auto historian, they can tell us.
Yeah, use automobile myself, so I wouldn't have any.
It's, what's the date of this thing?
He said 86.
86.
And
I
maybe
see.
mid-70s.
It's something that can be identified with more research,
But,
That van is
I got a feeling this, well, they may have taken,
like a 6-pack.
I just don't know the date on this particular photograph.
That's it.
That's it, guys.
That's all, folks.